News is coming in. India is demolishing Pakistan propaganda syndicate. IND ministry blocks Pakistan-sponsored fake news network. 20 YouTube channels, 20 websites, 2 websites in fact blocked for spreading anti-India propaganda. So we have 2 websites in total and 20 YouTube channels that in fact indulging anti-India propaganda. And the Indian government, the Information and Broadcast Ministry, has come down heavily, blocking and banning Pakistan-sponsored fake news network. India has come down heavily on fake news network that is sponsored regularly by Pakistan, with the government of India, the Information and Broadcast Ministry, taking a stand and blocking 20 YouTube channels that regularly indulge in anti-India propaganda, and 2 other websites have been blocked for spreading hate. The kind of content that these websites and the YouTube channels were in fact regularly putting out was factually incorrect and were against the country. It had got to do with historical facts, and it had other details in connection with sensitive states like Punjab, for example. Shiv Arur, our executive editor, has more details on that. Shiv, do take us through the details of the 20 YouTube channels and 2 websites that were peddling anti-India propaganda.
Sneha, this is a big crackdown on cyber terrorism emanating from Pakistan, which happens in a highly organized fashion. Basically 20 YouTube channels as part of what is called the Naya Pakistan group, which are basically a collection of YouTube channels with a combined subscriber base of over 35 lakh, 55 crore views, constantly saying controversial and fake things about India, trying to provoke minorities in India, saying provocative things about General Bipin Rawat, the Ram Mandir, issues like Kashmir and the Indian Army, and spreading very professionally made fake news items. These are the 20 YouTube channels and 2 websites that have been cracked down upon by the Indian Information and Broadcast Ministry along with the intelligence agencies. And many of these YouTube channels were extremely dangerous, and they were extremely popular because they have a wide, subscriber base within Pakistan, where there is a great appetite for terrorist-sponsored content. It is a country that is an official sponsor of terror, after all, and therefore this highly organized syndicate of websites and YouTube channels, which draw their sponsorship, their content, all of their media management directly, obviously, from the deep state of Pakistan. They work in a very insidious manner. They pick up items from the daily current affairs in India and then mount these very finely crafted fake news items, adding speculation about the reason for the crash that killed Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat, about terror attacks that happened in Kashmir, things about the Indian Army, spreading false news about mutinies within the Indian Armed Forces, and things like that. They even had recently put out stuff about how the LTT was actually involved in the downing of Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat's helicopter. So this is called the Naya Pakistan Group, or the NPG. There are a couple of other websites that are also involved, which have been blocked. But what we can interpret this as is a major crackdown on Pakistan-sponsored cyber terrorism. It is an enormous mountain to climb. This is only a very first initial step, but it is still very substantive and sends out a message that India will not be tolerating the kind of organized cyber terrorism that Pakistan is sponsoring with the help of China. Let's make it very clear to our viewers that China is aiding and abetting in this cyber terrorism that Pakistan is mounting against India.
Yes, be with us, Shiv. Mohit is also getting us more details on that big story that we are tracking. This is an extremely important development, Mohit, from the point of view of cracking down on anti-India propaganda, given the kind of viewership and followers these YouTube channels have. And like Shiv also pointed out, this had got to do with sensitive information and news developments in India, right from the horrific chopper crash that killed India's first Chief of Defence Staff to, peddling fake news in sensitive states like Punjab, Kashmir, for example.
Well, absolutely. The kind of propaganda that was coming in or being spewed by these YouTube channels or these news portals clearly indicate as to how there was a hideous attempt to not only create a rift within India between various sections, but more importantly, at how slowly and steadily information and technology specifically is being used to propagate such propaganda. In the past as well, we've seen the Pakistani channels as well as the Chinese handles as well do something of this sort as well, and the government taking action as well. And this time, it becomes the sheer magnitude is something that has become enormous here. 20 YouTube channels is something that have been blocked, 2 web portals as well, and the collective subscriber base of these YouTube channels and web portals was around 3.5 million, which clearly speaks of how they had been successfully trying to infiltrate in the minds of the youth here in India. And as Shiv was also pointing out, it was not just restricted to one particular issue on which these people were targeting. It revolved around Kashmir. It involved around the Indian Army, the fake propaganda on minority issues, and how the human rights were being tarnished here in India, including something that you also pointed out, the death of the first CDS of the country as well. All of these things are something that were used to spew venom, and that's precisely why it was based on the intel received by the various agencies here in India that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting finally decided to directly reach out to YouTube, to the Department of Telecom, and finally take this very important action of ensuring that these YouTube channels can be blocked with immediate effect, and secondly, also ensuring that these web portals can also be blocked. And by doing so, they have not just sent out a clear-cut message to those people who are running these websites, but have also taken a strong stance in ensuring that nothing of this sort is actually released out in the open when it comes to the Indian viewers, the Indian subscribers, the Indian citizens. And secondly, what we are given to understand that this is not just the first attempt by the government of India. It is likely that many such initiatives or many such campaigns can also be undertaken in the future as well. The Ministry of Information Broadcasting is clearly monitoring what goes on in these YouTube handles as well as these YouTube channels and web portals, trying to understand and assess very carefully that if at all there is a proper campaign going against India, if there's an anti-India propaganda that is on its way to somehow infiltrate the mind of the young ones here in India, they need to be stopped, and that is exactly something that the government of India would be doing. And what is indicative, what our sources in the ministry are telling us, that many other YouTube handles are also on the radar of the ministry. Attempts are being made to not just fully understand as to who are operating these handles, but more importantly, what all is going on, inside them, and what all is actually being shown in these as well.
All right, Mohit, for the moment, we are pausing here for a quick commercial break, but Shiv and Mohit will, of course, keep coming back to you for more in just a bit, because like both of you have been telling us, this only appears to be the tip of the iceberg, really. There are 20 YouTube channels and 2 websites that the government has blocked, but there are many more that as a business model, essentially, peddle news against India, which is fake news. We'll continue to keep a close eye on that big story. Pausing here for a break.